Hello and welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to your friends get your gaming goodness every Monday. My name's John Black. Join me on the couch this week by him Slonesomes. Ashley, help me.
Hey, Dylan, excited to be here on my lonesome, but you know, it's always disappointing that when Ciaran's not here. I'm heard he was down with the sickness, the defeated sickness. He got beat so bad and so thoroughly.
Oh, wow.
He was unable to make it his way onto the couch.
Yes,
by Mr. Buddy Watson in It Takes Two.
In an alternate world, I feel like I can say this now because fuck it. Well, I'm just going to spoil it. So here's what this is what was going to go down originally on this week's podcast, everyone. Was going to be, you know, Ash and Ciaran as per usual and myself was going to be here, was going to be recording a podcast and was going to go through the usual events. It was going to be, you know, I'll talk about the one review, we'll talk about a couple news stories, then we're going to jump into what we've been playing. And we're going to talk a little bit about Outriders first because Ciaran's been playing that now. And then we're going to get into It Takes Two, the final update. Because Radio Watson's...
Because we need to know because they stopped right before a pivotal point.
Yes.
Last time.
So I was going to get a reaction to that without many spoilers. And then was going to get the final...
I would shout out, somebody did an interview with Joseph Ferris.
Yes,
about that.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, that's how people are supposed to react or whatever. So I don't know. And was going to get the final mini games scores at that point. And I'm sure in my head, I expected Ciaran to be like, oh man, you know, I was sick, fucking blah, 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 blah. But the big secret was supposed to be setting up was I was going to have Buddy on the waiting room and I was going to add him into the Discord call out of nowhere, fucking surprise Ciaran. He can't say shit. Ciaran would have been like, he would have, Buddy's here, and he wouldn't have been able to say shit because he would have tried to talk shit like he did the first time. Been like, oh, Buddy can't do platformers, and he would have fucking hated it. Would have been great, but you know, so it didn't. It's not happening because Ciaran's like, oh, I'm sick.
Ciaran's sick.
Sick. Quotation marks. Little bitch.
You know, well, you know what they say. Talk shit, get beaten thoroughly in minigames in It Takes Two.
I believe that is the classic version of that
classic saying, you know.
Yeah.
So, Ciaran, thoughts of press.
Thoughts of press, everyone. Tweet at him at your boy Ringo.
Same. Hope you recover from your beatdown soon.
Yeah. That'll do. Hope you recover from your beatdown. You little bitch.
Little bitch!
Alright, let's get into it. On the show this week, we're going to be talking about Indie Direct, the Resident Evil Showcase, as well as news surrounding the new Bioshock game and the latest trailer for Pokemon Snap, because I like the looksies. Firstly, just run down one review that I've posted this week. You can read the full review, ExplosionNetwork.com, of course, for Oddworld Soulstorm. I'll be talking about it a little bit more on Wednesday when Platinum Explosion posts, because keep it to that podcast. But it is on PC if you want to play it on PC as well. End up giving the game a 6.
It's on Switch, right?
No, not yet. No, it's just PC plus.
Okay.
I think new and tastiest though, maybe. So maybe they'll port it eventually. But it's PS4, PS5, and Epic Games PC exclusive currently. Yeah, it's basically a reimagining / remake of a PS1 game. So if you hated Abe's Odyssey or that when you played it, much like I did. This holds a lot of the same formula, which is that you'll die a lot. It's rather frustrating. Abe controls like shit at times, even though they've added a double jump system. They've added a crafting system to try and help stuff, but it still holds the core mechanics and style that I guess made the franchise what it is. But I mean, 6.5 isn't too bad, but it's definitely not Game of the Year material, obviously. So you can read a full review, explosion.com. I'll talk a little bit more about it on Plat. All right, let's get into the news. Firstly, Apex Legends, which you all know that we like here at Explosion Network, has reached a major goal, right, Eurogamer. They write, it's been a while since we've had some player numbers from Apex Legends, but the Battle Royale seems to be doing pretty dang well, and Respawn has announced that the game now has over 100 million players in total. The news was shared on the official Apex Legends Twitter account with an accompanying video to celebrate the milestone. The clip ends with a date of 19th of April, and though there's no explanation as to what this may be, there's a brief snippet of what appears to be a town takeover, and it's left a lot of players scratching their heads. So 100 million players No small numbers, so of course, congrats to Respawn and everything. I think my biggest takeaway from this is just that, you know, you often see that only Warzone and Fortnite are the key ones that streamers are playing, and sometimes you see these articles that, you know, no other battle royale could make it or whatever. And a lot of times I feel like Apex is getting left out because it's kind of like Apex is in a weird position where it's definitely in third place, but it's in third place and people just can't see past second. You know what I mean? Like they're looking in their rear view mirror and they can see the car behind them. You know, that's Warzone.
Well, yeah. It's kind of in a weird middle ground between the two other properties where Warzone is like the super realistic, adult orientated battle royale. I guess when you compare it to the other end of the spectrum being Fortnite.
I guess, yeah. Yes.
And then Apex is kind of that's one in the middle.
Yeah, like Fortnite is the kids battle royale, and I guess Call of Duty is the adult battle royale. And then Apex is for people who actually like the good games. Battle royales. Yeah. So
the perfect balance.
Everything, you know, a little Thanos meme for you. Perfectly balanced as everything should be. Yeah. We got Season 9 coming up, and of course we did talk about a couple weeks ago, there's a lot of rumors and talk that Titanfall heavy stuff may or may not be featured in that, so I'm getting pretty excited for Season 9. I'll be excited nonetheless. It's always.
I heard you're going to be able to traverse, like run across walls and stuff. That's
fucking.
What Season 9 is going to be.
Oh, don't get me so excited. I'm pretty excited just because of those rumors. If it all just turns out to be a bunch of, you know, lies, rumors, whatever.
It's just Titanfall skins.
Yeah, I mean, sure, I'll take it. I'm pretty excited for a new season anyway because, you know, when do we get a new season? Like every 3 months roughly or whatever it is. I guess 3 months.
Something like that, yeah.
It's always exciting anyway. New character, new weapons, new stuff. I don't know. It's always cool. All right. Next story. The next Bioshock looks to be open world, writes AusGamers. Developer Cloud Chamber Studios is working on their next game in the Bioshock series, and as per new listings for job openings, we can glean one key bit of info. It will be an open world. The senior world designer job is looking for someone to, quote, enhance the narrative of the world and make the game feel alive, encouraging players to stay and explore. The listing also notes experimentation that is working through how the story and other elements will come together, pointing to the game probably still being quite early on in the development cycle. Going open world is an interesting choice for Bioshock, and although the term can mean a lot of different things, this in particular is starting to sound a lot like a narrative-driven open world RPG of sorts. So I have a potential hot take on this, which is that I don't give a fuck about an open world Bioshock. That's like my initial...
I was about to say, it doesn't seem like Bioshock's a property that would make sense for an open world game.
No.
Isn't the whole point like a straight narrative?
Mm-hmm.
So why exactly?
The first game is I wouldn't say directly linear because you can backtrack a little bit if you want, and like there's certainly a few off the path choices you can make. But for the most part, it's literally you arriving in this city, being like, what the hell's going on? And then you're basically led from one end of the city to the other, final boss fight, credits type thing, you know? And along the way, there's key story points and, you know, cinematic things that happen, etc., etc., etc. Bioshock 2 was basically the same, you know, like you're in the floating city, whatever. I didn't like Bioshock 2, so too much. I actually didn't finish it. I got bored and stopped playing it. I think I was about 8/10 of the way through, probably, or something like that. But I didn't bother through. But I mean, that was the same. So open world Bioshock game, I'm like, what the hell? Like, if they're literally just going to be like, oh, and I just don't know how it makes sense within the lore either, because, like, I don't know. I really just don't see how it works, because, like, the original Bioshock, they crash, they end up in an underwater city. Oh shit, what the fuck is this? The second one, they discover a secret floating city of basically rich people who are like, we're just going to go live in the sky now because fuck y'all kind of thing. So I'm like, what's an open world Bioshock? Like, I don't get how you can get the same, because they're not horror games, but they definitely have, there's supposed to be a sense of, especially with the first one, or even Bioshock 2, you know, with the big daddies and stuff walking around.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be proper horror games, but there's supposed to be a sense of dread or whatever about encountering these sorts of enemies. Well, I mean, the other thing with Big Daddies that made the games cool was they actually didn't try and kill you unless you fucked with them. That was one of the cool things about them. You expect it to be like a typical sort of horror game thing where it's like, oh, big evil thing, it runs away from you. But the way the game was designed is that, it's like player choice and, just don't try and save the little sisters and they won't touch you. Try and save the little sisters and the Big Daddies will go absolutely crazy on you. So, yeah, I don't like the particular sound of this. I'm open for it to being good, but my initial reaction to an open world Bioshock is definitely why. And also,
that doesn't make sense.
Do I need another Bioshock? Not really. I mean, as I said, I didn't like Infinite, so like maybe it was supposed to just be a one and done thing. Like not everything needs another game, So I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think people obviously love that game so much that they just want more.
Yeah, but that's the thing I don't get. Like because a lot of people don't like Infinite, like I do. Like I definitely feel like that's this game. Infinite is a game that, as time's passed, I feel like more and more people have kind of gone. It's not as good as I thought it was at launch, and maybe that's because I was just wanting it to be good when it launched. So a lot of people, when they say they want more Bioshock, they just mean they want more of the first game. But you can't do more of the first game, like the way the story is told. It wouldn't make any sense for us to go back to Rapture, really. Like they tried to do it with Bioshock 2, and Bioshock 2 is okay because it's a prequel. So
listen, Dylan, what they should do is they should remake Bioshock.
It's older than The Last of Us, so sure. At this stage, sure. All right, IGN writes, Wright is planning. Delete this giant fucking Mortal Kombat ad. Jesus Christ, IGN. Wright is planning a League of Legends cinematic universe. Over at Riot Games career pages, there are 2 new roles being advertised for Global Head of Live Action TV and Global Head of Live Action Film. Those are pretty clear-cut positions, but the descriptions provide a little more detail regarding Wright's plans. Quote, you will lead the film creative development team and all work related to the development of feature films for the League of Legends cinematic universe and new franchises. And then the head of live action TV is near identical, just focused on television, blah, 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 blah. Wright appears to be aiming high with the projects and are searching for applicants well connected to big players in the film TV world. Quote, you have... On the role, it says, you have deep relationships within the industry and are well versed in top artists, writers, directors, producers, and actors. The roles are both substantial in their responsibilities and involve, quote, very meaningful collaboration with your counterparts, end quote, in the film, TV, animation departments, which points to a potential interconnectedness between Wright's TV and movies, much like Marvel's MCU. So it's funny that this story actually popped because we were talking about that Dota animated series, like 2 weeks ago, whenever it was.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that.
And I was like, man, it's kind of like how League is expanding into doing those spin-off games and stuff like that. Like finally deciding to build upon their many characters and world and stuff. So when I saw this,
they've got a book's worth of lore.
Yeah.
That they're kind of doing nothing with.
Yeah. So that's why I was like kind of praising them for finally being like, oh, we're going to do like a whatever, what do you call it? Like twin stick action game or whatever that one is. And then like an RPG one and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, cool, this all sounds great. But I thought this was funny after saying, good on Dota for finally, doing the anime series. And apparently they're planning to do more than just that. They're expanding their universe. Now League of Legends is expanding into a multiverse or whatever the hell the cinematic universe. Sorry, cinematic universe.
Yeah.
So I think
multimedia universe.
Yeah. On paper, all these descriptions are fucking hilarious. I'd like to say straight away, just the way that they're described.
Okay, we need somebody who can connect us with famous people.
Yeah, pretty much is what it. It's pretty much what it sounds like.
Are you well connected? Do you know Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
Get in touch.
Do you know Brad Pitt? You're hired. It's kind of what it sounds like to a degree. But aside from that, I think this is a very smart decision from Riot because, as someone who, obviously used to play League a lot, still sort of keep up with the news by headlines and stuff of characters and this sort of stuff. League has a lot of lore, a lot of really cool characters that if they build upon and bring to film and TV, it's not a scenario of, oh, you need to be a fan of the games or anything like that. Those characters could just definitely make really great movies and TV shows that people would be into. Like, it's got a really cool bunch of characters and stuff. So, yeah.
So, Dylan, top Arcade Couch, top 3 League of Legends characters you'd like to see in a TV series.
Oh, what a... well, you know who they're going to do. I'll tell you right now. They're going to do Jinx, because that's like the fan favorite that everyone loves, Jinx. It's the one they're putting into a game already. So I feel like that's going to be a go-to. But I would say Katarina, who's like an assassin character.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Then I'm going to say Lux, who's a mage. Casts like spells and stuff. Cool stuff there.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go with I can't remember his name actually, but I'd love to see it. It's basically this I can't remember his name, but I'm picking him anyway. It's a dude who sits in he's like this little small I can't remember the actual critter's names. There's a type of critter in League of Legends universe like Teemo and stuff like that. That whatever actual character that's what I'm going with. Teemo. There you go. Teemo. In case anyone doesn't know Teemo, you probably do, because for a while Teemo was the mascot for League of Legends. Like what everybody had the hats, yeah, and all that sort of stuff. And Teemo was basically, if you played Teemo, you were the biggest prick in any game, because it's this character that can go invisible in the map, plants mushrooms all over the place, and attacks you with a flute of poison. So, but it's very lovable, very cute, has a lot of adorable costumes and skins you get in the game. So yeah, sure, lock in Teemo.
Yeah, over there. Who should play Teemo then?
Who's small and annoying? Marco Stunt? Oh no, that's the first person.
I feel like he will definitely be a CGI character. So who should voice Teemo?
Has to be like a high pitched someone who can do like a high pitched voice, I guess. I don't know. Someone who voices like Pikachu or Ash Ketchum or some shit. Whoever that person is.
What's his name from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Titus Bruges? Yes.
There you go.
Sure.
He's got a high pitched voice.
Yeah, lock it in. I can see that, sure. Hey, Teemo! I don't know.
Yeah, listen, right, we don't have the connections.
We don't have the connections, but
we have the ideas.
Yeah, we got the ideas. It definitely sounds like we've locked it in. Officially. Yeah, so obviously that's some time away, but it's cool to know that's happening. Alright, so this morning Nintendo posted another Pokemon Snap trailer. I thought it was pretty cool. I was going to run down some of the random bits and pieces. So it's a nearly 7-minute trailer too, or they call it an overview trailer. They kind of gave us a better idea of what you're actually doing in the game, because it wasn't just showing you taking photos and stuff. So they did explain some of the items and stuff you'll be able to use in the game. So one of them is called Fluff Fruit. Basically, you can throw this at a Pokemon and it'll start snacking on it, so then you can get opportunities to take pictures of it if you would like. Then you get the Luminar Orb, or Luminaire Orb. So this is my favorite one, because if you watch this in the trailer, it's actually all sorts of fucked up. This is like when that goddamn fuck, I'm forgetting its name. Tyranitar eat that goddamn apple thing or whatever off the ground. So this is nearly as messed up as that. But this Lumina Orb is, at first they're like, oh, you just throw it at like this duck and it makes it super happy. But then in the trailer you realize quickly that they're actually throwing this orb at Pokemon who are peacefully sleeping, and then they're waking up and having like they just got injected with fucking cocaine. Like I kind of feel bad. Like there was this one key point, and I'll just rewind it for the video players. People watching the video, look at this. Watch this Magikarp video, people. You see this goddamn Magikarp sleeping perfectly safe, wakes up, has a fucking heart attack, goes absolutely ballistic, and then like blasts off into space here. So I just kind of feel bad. So, but otherwise, I kind of feel bad for that one Magikarp. Poor Magikarp, I was getting picked on. Then they also talked about you'll get a melody. So this can, I guess it's like you can just play music or whatever. Different Pokemon will play along or whatever. I assume not all Pokemon will play, but the more musically inclined Pokemon will play, and I'm sure that makes for different cool photo opportunities. And then you also get access to a scan, which will help you find potentially hidden Pokemon. In the trailer, they show like a pincer that's in the desert or whatever. But then they also point out that if you scan, you can find stuff in the environment, including if you scan in the right spot, then you can choose to head down a different direction. Because of course, Pokemon Snap's like an on-rails shooter, I guess, if you know what I mean. If you want to call it that, it's like an on-rails shooter, but you're shooting photos, of course.
Shooting photos, not bullets.
Yes, not bullets. But if you scan in the right spots, you'll be able to find these secret paths that will lead you down different directions. And I presume that's like, if you're trying to 100% the game, I'm sure there'll be like, you know, you've got to find the secret paths where potentially that's where some of the rarer Pokemon will be, or like you get the better photographs of Pokemon. Like they point out how you may be able to get a different angle in the trailer of different Pokemon or stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. And then they hinted at, I guess, what may or may not be, I guess, what the core storyline is, I guess, if you want to call it that. Because of course, like the game's story isn't like super deep. It's literally just you're trying to take photos and you're trying to complete your photo decks, right? And the professor scores your photos, and you can try and force style the photos. Each level or area you level up, the more photos and stuff you're taking or whatever. But then they talked about these things called Luminaire Pokemon, and in the trailer they show this giant bay leaf coming along or whatever that's all like super glowy and stuff. So I'm like, I guess that's the through line for the storyline a bit. It's like maybe the professor's like, hey, there's these like rare Pokemon out here now. Like we want you to try and get a photo of it or whatever. And that's kind of what you're trying to find or whatever. Even to me, I'm like, well, it just looks like a weirder, shiny, I guess. I don't know. But it's cool. It was a really great trailer. As I said, like nearly 7 minutes. They do go into some of the features you can do for taking photos as well, alongside the scoring. So I know they hinted at this in the last trailer, but they're like, hey, you know, you can change the focal point, you can change the angle, you know, zoom in, all this sort of stuff. You add stickers to them if you want to. Then of course you can upload them so your friends can see them, people online can see them, they can rank your photos and all that sort of stuff. So there's definitely a lot more to this game than simply, hey, it's a Pokemon Snap that was on 64, but it's prettier. You know, like there's a lot of features that you simply just wouldn't have been able to get back in the day. And maybe this isn't going to hold your attention for 100 plus hours like, you know, a core Pokemon game will. But I definitely feel like there's enough meat on the bone here between trying to get them at the high level photo rankings, trying to complete the photo decks in general, you know, like looking for those secret routes and all this sort of stuff. So it just generally looks like a wholesome, great time. And in case you forgot, it's out in a couple weeks. So I think that's pretty, that's pretty exciting. So July, not July.
April 30th.
April 30th, yeah. I don't know why I said July. I was like, it's this month. Maybe I feel like we're in July. I don't know. Sometimes it feels like we're in July. Who knows? Right.
July 2020, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. So, I want to bring this up because this is definitely in the rumor mill or whatever, but the original story was posted by Bloomberg Japan. I'm like, I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of credence to this. So, Nintendo Life originally wrote in the story, in a new statement released. Hold on, I've got to go. The original story is, so I'll break it down here. They said that Square Enix past personnel in recent times for release of games such as Marvel's Avengers, Batman Wonderworld, and Outriders has reportedly got the attention of multiple buyers. This information comes from finance news platform CTFM via Bloomberg Japan, which, by the way, I didn't know there was a Bloomberg Japan until today, but there you go. Which claims several potential buyers have shown interest in the Japanese games company. It's all according to two bankers CTFN quoted who are familiar with the matter, which is always the go-to quote for anyone who's like, I don't want to say who I am or whatever, you know, familiar with the matter. They continue, it's unclear if these buyers are interested in Square Enix's game development or purchase the company at whole. So a lot of people were tweeting about this or whatever when this story first broke. There was like an hour or so that went past. You know, people are like, this is the thing. People flipping out saying Sony's going to buy them, Xbox will buy them, blah, 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 blah. All of that would be absolute nonsense. If anyone was going to buy Square Enix, it would just be like some company you've probably never heard of. It wouldn't actually be anyone. And it would, if it was going to be any company, it would be Sony. It would have to be a Japanese. Like, Square Enix wouldn't sell to a Western, you know, like an American company.
What about Tencent?
Sure. I wouldn't put it past it to be honest. You know what I mean? Like but in the realm of possibilities, you know what I mean? A Japanese company wouldn't sell to an American company. I just don't think that would be a thing that would happen. Anyway, they updated the story saying Square Enix has now responded to Bloomberg Japan's report, shutting down claims that it could be on the brink of being brought out. And in a new statement released to press, Square Enix explains that it isn't considering selling off the company and hasn't received any offers. You can read the full statement below. They said Bloomberg has reported today that there is interest from several buyers to acquire Square Enix. However, this report is not based on any announcements by Square Enix Holdings. We do not consider selling off the company or any part of the business, nor have we received any offer from any third party to acquire the company or any part of its business. And then they continue the story saying, while the idea of Square Enix being backed by one of gaming's giants might sound exciting at first, it's probably for the best if it can remain independent. With Bethesda now being gobbled up by Microsoft, the likelihood of new games from the studio coming to the Switch and PlayStation becoming less and less likely each day. So I'd like to just say, because just to kick around who you think could buy them or if you think it could be interesting, their statement doesn't really blow off the story, in my opinion. Like them being like, Bloomberg has today reported and we have not announced anything. Yeah, of course you haven't announced anything. And then them saying we do not consider selling off the company or blah 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 blah. I think although that potentially, if there is any legitimacy to the story, which I'm only giving it credit because of the outlet reporting it, not like it's Joe Schmo reset error or whatever. But they could just be like, look, we don't want this information out because it potentially can fuck up any deals they may be talking about. So yeah, I don't know. Just for the sake of kicking around the idea for a minute, how would you feel if one day you wake up and it's like Square Enix has been brought by, let's say, how would you feel if that was being brought by another video game company where it could potentially affect the actual games? And then B, like, let's say a company like Tencent buys it where nothing ultimately changes, just who's getting the money. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. I don't think I'd care that much, you know? I think obviously it would be a huge deal if it was bought out by one of the console makers to be an exclusive studio. That would, I think, after Bethesda, that would be a massive. That would just change the industry completely. I think for the two biggest third-party the publishers to be bought out and be completely, it would create such a vacuum in the industry. I think
if something like that ever happened, it would just lead to bigger questions of like, what led to this being, you know what I mean? Like what it just show the cracks of the industry.
As they point out in the stories, Marvel's Avengers underperformed. Balan Wonderland, I don't think did.
I don't know who's brought it, and I don't know who liked it. So
I don't know if it did well in Japan or it seemed like a very niche game. And then Outriders has obviously done quite well. Their most recent title,
very popular, even if the reviews
very
are
popular.
Mixed.
But they're not making any money on it because everybody's playing it on Game Pass. So
I don't know. Yeah, they got paid by. I don't know what the deal there was. Xbox. I don't know.
Yeah. So maybe they're. And I feel like there's been talk of Square Enix. They've struggled a bit on top of like the Tomb Raider franchise not being as strong as they'd hoped, and that kind of thing. So. If it was bought by Sony or Xbox or even crazy notion Nintendo, it would be a massive hit to the industry. But if it was bought out by, say, probably unlikely, but Ubisoft or Activision, like, oh, okay, they're just going to add another name to the start of the title. It'll be Square Ubisoft Enix.
That would be weird. Yeah, I'm going to say if there's any legitimacy to this, that they will end up you'll wake up one morning and they'll be like, Square Enix has been brought by insert name of company that you've never heard of.
THQ Nordic.
No. Insert name of some Japanese company, Japanese name you've never heard before, Some big ass company in Japan.
By Konami. All their titles are becoming pachinko.
Yeah, well, it's fucking... Don't say that stuff out loud. That's how you put certain energy out.
I'm not going to manifest anything. It's fine.
Don't manifest that. You mentioned them. Let's get into them. Nintendo. Well, not really Nintendo, but it was their show anyway. So Nintendo did what they do most days now, where they're like, hey, 24 hours notice or 36 hours notice. Nintendo Directs. It's an indie world. It's happening soon. Stay up, watch it. Cool. All right, here it is. And it was a pretty great show, all up. If I had to put this, up there, I'd give this quite a high rank. As most of these indie shows, a lot of the games even if they're revealed here, you'll often look them up after. They're coming to other platforms. Doesn't really matter. A lot of them aren't even Switch exclusive, but Nintendo gets to be the place that showcases them. And ultimately, Nintendo, more so than Sony or Microsoft, has definitely been doing the best job at showcasing indie games in recent times by far. With these indie directs, and even they have some indies on their normal showcases anyway, if they're big name indies or whatever, So, but Kotaku got an article showing off, just running down what was shown off. It's going to run down it and stop on the things that interest. Have you watched the trailers? Did you watch the show? Have you?
I watched the trailers. Yeah, it was pretty solid. A lot of interesting games, and then it's like an actual big surprise, I think, towards the end. So
yeah, there's a couple of big ones at the end here, which I feel like I'll skip through most of them to potentially get to the big things. So first up, they announced that Fez is coming out. It's out today. There you go. Fez is a game. It's out. It's out now on Nintendo Switch. If you haven't played Fez, I haven't played Fez. I own it on PlayStation. Haven't bothered to play it. I remember got it, and then I watched a documentary where Phil Fisher's in it, and he's a real bit of a douche.
Indie game, the movie?
I think, was that the one? Yeah, must have been. Where he's a bit of a douche, and it turned me off playing Fez for whatever reason. I was just like, I don't know, because I think it was on PlayStation Plus around that point. Like, I didn't even pay for it. Like, I just got it for PlayStation Plus. Yeah. And then I watched that movie, and I'm like, I don't know. It's not like I'm against playing it. It looks really good. It basically, in case you don't know, it's like, it's a puzzle game where I guess, if you played Captain Toad, I guess Captain Toad's feels like it was inspired a lot by Fez to a degree, because Fez is...
Captain Toad's an easy version of Fez.
Yeah. Fez, you got to rotate whatever he's on, the place.
The
world, yeah, to solve puzzles and stuff. So, and it had a lot of praise, a lot of awards, these sorts of things. So, now it's on Nintendo Switch. I think it's on everything now, I believe.
Yeah.
Would be on everything.
It's even on mobile, so...
Yes, yeah. So there you go. I don't know if Phil Fisher's getting any money from this latest spot, but I don't know. So they've broken these games up into like when they're releasing. So then they ran down later today. So these are out by now. They announced that The Longing from Studio Sephoyas is a point-and-click adventure game, part idle game, where players have to wait 400 days for his King's Powers to awaken. So that's apparently 400 real days, as per the trailer. If you want to get credits. So I feel like they should have given out review codes for this one 18 months ago. So,
well, it released on Steam 6th of March 2020. So anybody who started playing that game day of launch is still waiting.
Well, unless you can fuck with your system clock maybe and cheat, I guess. That could be a thing. Don't know. Then they had There Is No Game Wrong Dimension from Draw Me a Pixel. It's a comedy adventure game that swears there is no game. Looked alright. Looked like an indie funny thing. May, Aerial Knights Never Yield. Runner is a futuristic runner that slides onto a switch. This looked kind of cool for a runner. Like, considering most of the time runners you kind of associate with like mobile titles, like Infinite Runs or whatever. So this looked kind of cool. Action runner thing. July, Chris Tales finally got an official new release date because it got delayed earlier in the year, or late last year, whatever it was. So now it's coming out on July 20th. Definitely one of my most anticipated 2021 titles. It was one of my most anticipated games last year, but keep waiting. I feel like people are sleeping on this because they haven't played the demo. Like I feel like when I watched the trailers, I was like, this game looks beautiful. Art style looks amazing. Surely it can't be as good as they're kind of selling on this whole playing in 2 time zones, all this sort of stuff. But I talked about it on here before. I played that demo. It's like an hour or whatever, that demo. And it is really pretty, and it is really cool to be playing this JRPG where you're literally playing in like the past, present, and future is split on your screen at all times. And even when you're doing combat, you have to like take into account past, present, future combat things. And remember I talked about, I think I did the boss fight in the demo where I couldn't get past someone's shield, so you have to like use a water spell on it, and then you have to go to the future, so then their shield's like rusted and stuff. I'm like, that's fucking cool. So Crystals looks really good. Can't wait. Then we got Last Stop, a third-person adventure game from developer Variable State and publisher Annapurna Interactive. It's coming out in July. This looked really cool. I had no idea what the fuck is going on in this trailer, really. It was like confusing, but good confusing. And also, I definitely feel like Annapurna is becoming the go-to, like, You know what I mean? Like, you see a Devolver, you go, that's probably a good game. Like, Devolver publishes good.
They're becoming the A24 of video games.
Basically, yeah.
I would say the Annapurna of video games, but I don't think.
But they are. I mean, they've definitely done a good job as a publisher of sort of curating what the games they publish are, to the degree now that if you see a game's published, but if you see their logo at the start of a trailer, you're like, okay, like, because most of the time it's story heavy. I guess that's a central thing, you know, like story heavy. But gameplay wise, they've got a lot of variety, you know, like there's definitely a focus on story, mood, themes over bombastic gameplay or these sorts of things. So, yeah, this looks really, really cool. Did you like this one? Trailer for this one?
Yeah, that looks interesting.
Like some space thing, woman. I don't really know. But
supernatural shit.
Yeah.
Multiple stories, characters, that kind of stuff. Very story focused, it seems like.
Yeah.
So almost like a Telltale game or something.
Yeah, so for looks like it potentially has more.
Except it looks interesting.
Yeah.
It looks graphically interesting.
Graphically better, yeah. So then into the later this year section on Kotaku here, they've got Road 96 is a procedural road trip adventure from developer Digix Art, coming this summer. So I feel like I've seen a trailer for this before, or maybe it was a different game and I just thought it was this one. But this looked pretty cool, I guess.
I feel like there's been a lot of road trip games released or teased, had trailers for conferences recently.
Yeah, there was definitely, and there was one that came out, I remember, at some stage too. But I feel like we saw a trailer for this one before. And I'm not dreaming. Maybe it was in the last year's.
It was at the Game Awards.
Was it at the Game Awards? That's where it was. Okay, there
yes.
You go. So, yeah, this is that. It looks cool here. Brand new trailer. Procedurally generated road trip where it seems like the focus is on, I guess, like different decisions will lead you to different characters. Different decisions within those characters will lead you to different moments of those characters, which will potentially lead you to different characters. Lead you to, you know what I mean? Like it's very much like, on paper, it could even be like an old school DOS game, you know, like you turn left here, you meet this person kind of thing. Like I feel like it's obviously just about the moments and interacting with these people. I don't know how much actual action or, you know, stuff like that's going to be it, but yeah, I'm pretty keen for this. Are you keen for this?
Yeah, definitely. It looks interesting, and like it'd be interesting to see if it's a game you actually do want to replay, or it's like, yeah, I had my story.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I can see myself doing that because, you know, it'll roll credits or whatever at my first time.
Because it's easier.
Well, no, it's just because
I don't have to play it again.
Depends. Is it coming PlayStation? Do I have to replay for a platinum? But I know it's like, you know, the credits roll, and then I have my Route 96 experience where I'm like, I met this person, and then any sort of game where you have it, like I never replay anything. Like I never replay Telltale games, never replay anything because I'm always like, well, that's my experience, that's my story. I never really like going for the. I know that's how they sell these sorts of games. Like you can replay it. I'm like, yeah, but I don't really want to. I had my time. Tribute games and showed up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. It's coming to Switch as well as previously announced platforms. So this wasn't. It was a new trailer, but and I think you and Ciaran talked about this the week I was off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my 2 cents. Yes, please. I'll play it. That's it looks really cool.
It looks great.
Yeah, it looks great.
I mean, as long as it's got online multiplayer.
I presume it will because like Street Fighter.
I assume it will because
Streets of Rage.
Yeah, and Streets of Rage had no multiplayer, so
yeah,
looks amazing. You know, we've got to see Bebop and Rocksteady, and then someone else pointed out there's the shot of the hands in an office building, like doing all the computer work in the background. And just before they start fighting, they like pull off their tires and all jump up and everything. Like such great animation.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it looks really good, and the music and everything. I know you talked about that too, but the theme song and everything, yeah, all about it. Very keen.
Give it to me.
So coming this fall to Switch, Aztec Forgotten Gods is an action adventure game inspired by Aztec mythology. This looked quite graphically heavy for the Switch, I guess. That's what I would. Put it to a degree, you know what I mean? Like it I don't know. This is actually one of the games because I had the chat open when I was watching live, which is usually a mistake because everyone's just complaining that Zelda's not here and stuff like that. Which of course doesn't make sense given it's called the Indie World Direct thing or whatever. But when this game came on, there was one of those moments.
One time they're going to put it in there.
Yeah, maybe. When this came on, this is one of those times where everyone in the chat was like, I saw several people like, oh, actually, this looks all right. You know, like they were like, this was hitting with the live audience on YouTube. I was watching a lot. But yeah, it's action game. You move quite fast. Looks like we've got dungeon puzzle things and the characters like sliding on stuff. And there's a neon world and a old world. I don't know. It looked like a lot. Looked pretty cool. Keen to see more. Didn't get my head fully around it off the one trailer though. So then they had Skull, the Hero Slayer from Southpaw Games, the platformer featuring more than 90 playable characters, which the player can change into by swapping heads. It's due out this summer. Looked interesting. I didn't really fully understand the 90 characters swapping heads. Is there more differences to, like, is there a lot of differences? Is there minor differences? Don't know. Art style look cool. Anyway. Alright, then the last couple that they get to here. I feel like this one things start getting really interesting. So Oddworld was announced by Roll7, the developer, same developer that did the previous two. However, Oddworld looks drasticically different to the previous two games. Ollie and then Ollie 2 Welcome to Oddworld? Or was it Hollywood? I don't know. It was something like that. Anyway. Those I played some of those on the Vita back in the day, and I liked them enough, but I didn't fall in love with them. And I also felt like they were just too hard for the point of being hard to a degree. Like I never really found my balance between striving to get a higher score or chasing a trophy for them, or you know what I mean. Like the difficulty and the reward payoff wasn't really getting it there for me. And the art style for those games was fine. Like it definitely didn't look, in my opinion, it definitely didn't look super interesting or intriguing. Oddworld looks really good. Like the art style in this game is very, very pretty. Lots of bright colors, luscious, world design and everything like that. Yeah. And it's not just the world, they're also adding like proper characters to this game. There's like some actual story happening in the background. It's looks from a visual standpoint and like a reason to keep playing. It seems like, okay, well, I may get invested in the story. I may want to meet another character. I may want to see what happens next and this sort of thing. And they also talked about in the gameplay reveal trailer, they talked about wanting to make the game more accessible. They wanted to make it so more people could play it, more people aren't butting heads or whatever, while also keeping the difficulty there for people who want to chase that. So I presume there's going to be like challenges and these sorts of things, or maybe bonus levels. I don't really know. For the people who want the really hard shit, people want to get all the trophies, achievements, I don't know. That's going to be there, but they're just toning it down to make it a lot more accessible. And I'm all about this. Like, this game looks really good. Like, I mean, just visually, I'm all about it. I'm like, this, the animation, everything. I'm surprised. I don't know if the gameplay they showed is actually running on the Switch, because I'm like, this just seems very smooth for considering how fast everything's moving for a Switch game or whatever.
Well,
but
it's coming to everything, so
yeah. So it might not have even been on Switch, but I'm very keen for this. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks really interesting. I also played a little bit of the Ollie 2. I think I actually did play it on the Vita as well, but didn't quite get into it because I think it was quite
it was
difficult.
Hard. It was quite hard. It's not an understatement. It was hard. Yeah.
It was hard. Yeah. But yeah, this looks interesting. Obviously, a little more user friendly potentially. I think it was called Rocket Power. It was like a Nickelodeon show about like extreme sports or whatever. It just reminds me of that a little bit.
Don't know that one, but did you ever see the classic show called I was going for a joke before. What was it? Codename Kids Next Door. There you go. Yeah, know that one? Yeah. No? Oh, fuck. Alright, so also from Annapurna Interactive, they had a trailer for Hindsight, which is a gorgeous indie puzzle adventure from developer Joel McDonald about an older woman reminiscing about her family. Which I love that as a description. Like, this looked really good too. And again, Annapurna, they're like...
Was this in the montage?
Yeah, I believe so. So they didn't show too much of it. But also in the montage, House of Dead remake. which I thought was the standout one. Like, that wasn't announced officially. It wasn't like given a thing. There was no voiceover saying, hey, there's a House of Dead remake coming. Get excited, because that is a franchise that, definitely has a core fan base. A lot of people out there love that franchise. It just, sort of died off into the wind there. So for them to be like, a House of Dead remake's coming, and it's in the sizzle reel. Just comes up, House of Dead remake. It hadn't been announced before this. You could Google it, be like, was this announced? No, this was its announcement. How weird. Anyway, so House of Dead remake, that's also coming. And then the last game, I'm going to skip around the order of this here, because the game that was announced for next year is called Gutsfamiden Undying World.
Gutsfamiden.
Yep. And it says here it's from Konami and Guru. It pairs skill-based combat with a lovely Japanese art aesthetic. Sometime in 2020 it's supposed to release. So it's the one game that's not actually coming out this year, supposedly. It did look pretty, but boy, fuck that name. You know what I mean? Like, and they didn't show too much of it, so I don't really know what exactly we're doing. But all right, so the main one though, the big surprise, I feel. I mean, Oddworld was really cool, but then they were like, "Hey, Oxenfree 2, Lost Signals is out. Signals, yeah, it was Signals. Revealed from Night School Studios." So this isn't someone else doing a sequel. This is Night School Studios, who did Oxenfree, and then they did After Party. This is their next game, and it's Oxenfree 2 Free Signals. We don't know too much about the game. The trailer is quite short. It's like a minute long. They do in the description and on the Steam page, it just says it's set 5 years after Oxenfree, and a character begins investigating creepy shit happening. And as you see in the trailer, again, it involves radio signals, much like the first game. And that's about all we needed to know. So my question straight away is, have you played Oxenfree?
No, I haven't played Oxenfree. It's like it's on the list.
It's on the list. Did watching this make you want to play it more to catch up, or?
It gave me a deadline, I think.
Of what? So like, yeah,
whenever this game releases.
They gave this a 2021 release date. So I'm like how they didn't, given COVID and everything like that. It's just like, it's coming this year. We swear to God.
It's coming this year.
Like it's gonna come. Just everyone chill. But yeah, I thought this was really cool. And I think this is one of those games where I wasn't in love with the first one, but I was in love with the ideas, everything in it. It's like one of those games where like, because I actually went back. This is a weird thing. When I was writing up my news post, I was like, I remember writing a review for Oxenfree, and I was like, it's probably shit, because it was like years ago when I was first trying to write game reviews. But did I copy it over to Explosion Network? And I did. Turns out it was one of the reviews that I moved over from my site or whatever. So it's there. I gave it a 7 out of 10, which I was like, I would stand by that. Like, rereading my review, there's a lot of grammatical errors if you want to go find that to make fun of me. But I didn't bother fixing them because, history is history. You know what I'm saying? 7 out of 10 I would stand by. And the things I am saying in the review, I would stand by. There's just... My main problems were... the game felt a little bit too short. It has a big cast. I liked the cast, but you didn't get enough time to really get to know them. And then the game sort of just ends out of nowhere. It was one of those games where I'm like, things are getting interesting. Bam, credits. And I was like, oh, okay. That was a little bit disappointing. But the first game sort of focused on, I can't remember the character's name. I don't have it open in front of me. But this girl, she goes to this island, abandoned military island, with her new stepbrother and friends, and they're just going there to have a party or whatever. And then a bunch of weird shit starts happening, like ghostly, supernatural type stuff starts happening. And basically, the game is a combination, a mix between a point and click adventure game. With heavy conversation choices, because the Night School Studios was made up of like Telltale people and those sorts of people and stuff like that. So it's like heavy conversation choices. You especially the first hour of the game, whatever. You're just doing a lot of like clicking on conversation bubbles and stuff like that. And the character's really cool. The conversation choice is really cool, and the way you can play the character is really cool. And then the puzzle side of the game involves finding these sort of areas in the game, like little twinkles or whatever, and it could tell you could use a radio to fuck with shit. And they don't really, from memory, ever really explain what it is. But like, as you see in the trailer for 2, they again have these radio puzzles come back where they fine tune this radio signal or whatever the character is on the screen, and then like it seems like stars like shoot out and it actually causes a tree to cut down in real life. Like how and why, I don't know. But that's kind of how the first game worked as well. So Oxenfree 2 very much looks like the first game. Looks a little bit prettier. All these sorts of things. I'm going to hope to God that it runs better than After Party did. Because that was the other thing. I'm like, man, at launch, yeah. After Party, I was like, what did I give that? What did I end up giving it? I gave it like a 5.5 or some shit like that when I went and looked that up.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
And that was basically because of how bad it ran. And I mean, that game ran. My experiences with that game were not good playing it on. And I was playing it on PC. I wasn't even playing it on, like, I was trying to play it on my Nokia 2600 or some shit like that. I was playing it on PC and it just ran so poorly at all times. It really did ruin the experience. And there's a lot of that game in general. If that game ran well, I'm sure I would have gave it a lot higher score. But it's like, man, I just could not, and I assume it runs better now. I hope it does. I'm not going to go magically update the score just off assumption though. But I want this to be good, and I hope it runs better than that. So yeah. Did you play that? I can't even remember now.
No, it was again like obviously you put me off. So,
well,
but it is definitely one that I want to go back to potentially.
Yeah. Well, I assume it would have got patched by now, but
yeah, I just had a look on Steam and the reviews is still mixed.
Yeah. Because I remember
even the recent ones.
Remember after I posted my review and being like, man, I'm giving this a low score, but I feel like it deserves it because end of the day, reviewing a video game, like I felt like that game was like Days Gone was more playable to me when I played it. Like that's how in the scale of things, that was less play. Like I had it crash more, I had more bugs, I had more issues. The frame rate was constantly running at like below 20 frames per second. Why? I don't know. But like when you're below 20, it really does feel, and it's a fucking point and click game. I was like, what the hell's going on? Anyway, I don't want to sit here and shit on that game. I hope it's fixed because the writing in that was cool. It was quite funny.
From the reviews, there doesn't seem to be any like issues. They're mostly people who just didn't like the story. So,
okay. So yeah, check out that if you haven't. Check out Oxenfree. I think it's been given away for free on like a number of different things at this stage because it came out like 5 years ago or whatever. So, that's cool. All right, so that is everything from an Indie Direct. Again, really cool show. I hope they continue doing more of them. Some cool announcements in there. All right, now let's go through. There's not too much to talk about in here, really, but Friday morning, Capcom did another Resident Evil showcase, again, hosted by What's Good Games, Brittany Brombacher.
Congrats.
Yeah. Cool. Congrats to the whole What's Good Games, because they're just popping out babies over there. So they showed off, just to run down quickly before we go back, they had a Resident Evil Village trailer, they announced a Resident Evil mode. They had a trailer for Infinite Darkness, which is the Netflix series. They talked a little bit about the movie. They talked about a crossover Dead by Daylight, and then they announced Resident Evil 4 VR. So overall, I actually felt like this showcase was announcement-wise better than the first one, but just without the as big hype because this was the second one of these, not the first one. You know what I mean? Like, but as announcement-wise, I would say the announcements in this one were a little bit stronger than the first one. So, all right, Resident Evil Village trailer. Cool trailer, creepy trailer. We get to see a little bit more of the Lycans, werewolves, whatever you want to call them in this one. Creepy people doing creepy things. They show off the villagers a bit more. You get to see Ethan talking to the villagers, interacting with them. They're all like, this shit's fucked, man. Why are you here? And he's like, I don't know. They stole my child. Chris Redfield, have you seen him? I don't know what's going on. And the trailer, Chris is there. Ethan's like, man, you did some fucked up shit. And Chris is just like staring at a door, being all like, you know, moody or whatever. A lot of this game is just very much riding on like what that reveal is going to be for Chris. I feel like from day dot of the reveal of this game, it's just been, you know, what's the big mystery? Is the bigger mystery what the hell's going on with the werewolves and the vampire ladies and stuff, or is the bigger mystery what the hell's going on with Chris? And I feel like for fans of the series, it's going to be what the hell's going on with Chris because that's a character we know. So very good trailer, very keen. So the thing is actually now,
as someone who's just played seven. So between the last press conference and now,
that is the funniest.
So are you more invested?
Yeah, I'm more invested now because I understand Ethan's story. I understand his, you know, I forget her name, but his girlfriend, who I think they're saying that they're now married and they have a child with or whatever. I'm a little bit more invested, but I mean, the thing that pushed me to play 7 was how cool I thought 8 was looking anyway, you know? So I'm not suddenly like, oh, I'm on board now kind of thing. I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. I'm finding it more funny though, having played 7 recently, just how different the character models between Chris in 7 and then Chris in this game look like. They complete. I know people were making jokes, but I finally played the game so I can get aboard the memes a bit here and be like, yeah, Chris Redfield just kind of, I don't know, he ate a lot of KFC and worked out every 12 hours a day or something like that. I don't really know what's going on. Or it's because he's a werewolf. I guess that's the thing you can go for. All right, let's get to the very confusing thing. So,
okay.
And shout out to Press Start because I had the incorrect times in here and I think they messed up as well because I guess we all wrongly assumed that because when they announced these demos, which is what I'm talking about, they announced demos. They were like European time, Asia time, America time, right? And I was like, we'll be on Asia time because it's usually, you know, Asia Pacific. You know what I mean? Like, am I wrong to have assumed that was probably the timeline that we would be?
Well, geographically, it would make sense that we would line up with Asia. But, you know, region-wise, I think we're more connected to the European
I don't know
segment. So
wrongly adjusted times there. So anyway, Shannon, I saw a tweet out before, so
you fixed it.
Yeah, I updated our article accordingly. So because he apparently got confirmation from Capcom somewhere that Australia lines up the European times on the demo. So anyway, here's the confusing mess that is Resident Evil Village's demos. PS4 and PS5 players will get to play early. There's 2 demo times. This, so the day this releases, you'll have 3 hours left. No, 4 hours left. Because from Monday, April 19th at 3 a.m. until 11 a.m. on that same Monday, you can play the Village demo for a total of 30 minutes. The game will shut off once you play for 30 minutes. So they're calling this 8 hours of madness or some shit. I don't remember. So that's for the Village.
30 minutes.
Yeah, but the demo's available for 8 hours. Because they're like, it's Resident Evil 8, man. It's 8 hours, get it? Yeah, and we're not going to make sure the demo times work best for each region. We're just going to go, hey, Australian people, yeah, you can have access between 3 a.m. and 11 a.m. on a Monday. Like, fucking figure that out. So that's the Village demo. And then PS4, PS5 players, you get access to the Castle demo, again, 30 minutes total playtime for an 8-hour period of being available from 3 a.m. on Sunday, April 26th, and it ends on Monday, April... I have to update that. That would be Monday, April 26th to Monday, April 26th at 11 a.m. So 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. on that day. You can pre-download the demo if you'd like to. That'll help so you don't have to download it at whatever time you wake up to try and play it for the 30 minutes or whatever, I guess. But
that's good.
So that's confusing enough. But for everyone else, including PlayStation players, there is a third time slot where you'll get access to the demo. So this demo period starts at and this may need, I didn't actually see if Shannon at Press Start got a different time for this, but this may need to change by, so give this, what I'm about to tell you, give it 24 hours, give or take. Because I again, for possibly going off the wrong times here, I don't know. So I wrote down though, the demo period starts at 8 p.m. Sunday, May 2nd, and ends at, oh no, this one should be the same because I think it's globally. Anyway, 8 p.m. Sunday, May 2nd, and ends on Monday, May 3rd. At 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Time, because it's supposed to be a 24-hour period. So maybe it's right. Don't know. Anyway, for this 24-hour period, you'll get access to a full Resident Evil Village demo, of which you can play for 60 minutes total. Where you choose to play your 60 minutes total can be split between either the Castle demo or Village demo that we just talked about. So this is for everyone now: PC, Xbox, PlayStation as well. So you can choose to play 40, 50 minutes in one demo and then play 10 minutes in another, play it all in one demo. Doesn't matter. After that point, your PlayStation explodes. So just make sure you're choosing to play Resident Evil where you feel you'd make the most of your Resident Evil time. So this is all fucking confusing for, I don't know why. I don't know why they do this thing. I don't understand it. It was the stupidest thing of this whole showcase. I don't like timed demos. I don't like demos that are only available for certain periods. I don't like this whole you have a 24-hour period for the demo. I miss when there would just be like PS1 days, you just got demo discs, and there were sections of the games, and they were curated and cut at certain points, or even had different, like things missing that weren't full game because they were like, this is a demo, you play the demo, here's the fucking demo, enjoy it, play our game. And usually the demo would finish, it would cut to a screen, it would play the trailer for the game, and it would put you back to the demo. I miss those days. What is this? 60 minutes, choose where you play it. Garbage. Fucking hate it. Will I play it still? Probably. I don't know. I don't know. So it's just very confusing. It's a bit of a mess, in my opinion. All right. So then for Resident Evil Village, they talked about Mercenaries mode. It's back this time. You can buy new guns from the merchant, upgrade guns. There's abilities. They say this is a fan favorite. News to me. Like it's literally just a combat mode where you're clearing waves and stuff. I feel like for most Resident Evil fans, like this is the least interesting shit that we want out of Resident Evil games, but I don't know. Tell me different, I'll be like, I'm wrong. So then they showed a trailer for the Netflix animated series that's coming up soon called Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. And in the trailer, we find out the story behind this one, where it's set a couple years after Resident Evil 4. Leon S. Kennedy is now a bodyguard for the president, the same president whose daughter he saves in Resident Evil 4. And then lo and behold, he's doing his job, whatever. And on this day, Claire Redfield turns up and she's like, "Oh, how are you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm great. How are you?" And she's like, "Oh no, there's been some weird shit happening." And he's like, "Oh, we'll talk about it later." And then of course zombies break into the White House because they've been sent to kill the president or some shit. I don't know what's going on.
It's White House Town.
Yeah,
with zombies.
With zombies, pretty much. I mean,
Olympus has fallen with zombies.
It looks as silly as any of the other Resident Evil animated movies I've watched. I mean, it looks as silly as a Resident Evil video game. So, you can't really complain too much. The games are silly. This looks silly. I don't know. But it looks like animation looks good. I mean, CGI animation, whatever. I'm down. I'll watch it. I don't know how many episodes it's supposed to be, but the fact they call it an anime series, I'm not completely, I mean, that's a whole different getting into the anime, what is anime or not thing. But yeah, I'll watch this. Are you going to watch this or?
Maybe.
I feel like this is.
Do you like presidents almost getting killed?
You could have just said you like.
I do like attacks on White House films.
I thought you were just going to be like, I do like animated stuff. I mean, that could have just been. You kind of dug that hole for yourself. So then they announced that Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City has finished filming. So
wait, oh no, that doesn't. I was going to say, it's like the Capitol attacks, but no, that was wrong.
No, you should just not said that at all. Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City is the upcoming live action movie. That's right. In case you missed the memo, because I feel like a lot of people watching this showcase may not have heard the word on the grapevine, but they have been shooting and have now finished shooting a Resident Evil movie. This is not a continuation of the franchise starring Mila Jovovich. This is a reboot. This is a brand new thing. So as I put in my news article, I might as well read it out. Here's the cast for you. Kaya Scolario as Claire Redfield, Robbie Amell as Chris Redfield, Hannah John Kamen as Jill Valentine, Ava Joja as Leon S. Kennedy, Tom Hopper as Albert Wesker, Lily Go as Ada Wong, and Neil McDonough. How do you say his last name?
Neil McDonough.
McDonough, sure. As William Birkin. There's your core cast for the upcoming Resident Evil movie. It's stacked with the core characters, I feel, more so than the other films. Well, maybe I've just forgot, but I feel like, they got Claire, Chris, Jill, Leon, Wesker, Ada Wong. I mean, they're all big names of the Resident Evil franchise, so they're, trying to get this off.
It's a good cast.
Yeah. I'm kind of annoyed, though, they didn't show a single thing. Like, I'm like, couldn't you show like a set photo, like some, just, you know what I mean, though? Right. Just a behind the scenes picture or something. I don't know. They're like, we're deep into post production. Just, I don't know, something, just one picture that was new. Because the picture they showed, the Welcome to Raccoon City picture, that's old news. We've seen that before, right?
Seen it.
That's not new.
Seen press releases a bunch of times.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here, right? What's new? right, so then they announced Dead by Daylight is getting Resident Evil crossover content. Of course, Dead by Daylight, as they talked about in the showcase, they're like, we've became like the video game Hall of Fame for horror stuff, which is kind of true, I guess, so they can say that. They didn't really announce what the crossover will be, like what characters coming over or anything like that, but Dead by Daylight still
it'd be Mr. X, right?
That'll work, so yeah, sure. That works.
But it's not going to be like a generic zombie, is it?
No, but I mean, there's other characters. You could just have Wesker show up, I guess, or something.
There are other characters?
Yeah, shock and harm. But I know, Mr. X probably would make a lot of sense.
I mean, it's either Mr. X or it's the lady.
The lady?
8-foot lady.
Oh, imagine. They're just all in at this stage. Like, everyone loves her. We just assume everyone will love her in the game. So
yeah, nobody hides. They're just all excited to get tech.
So we're adding Lady...
To get stepped on.
Lady Dimascaro, or however you say it. Yeah, we're adding her to the end.
Yeah.
Then the final announcement. At first, I was very confused because they're like, we got one more thing. And then someone comes on from Facebook. I was like, what are you talking about? But then when they got to it, I was like, oh, right, Facebook owns Oculus. For a second, I was like...
They're relaunching the Flash games.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for to be like, we're doing like a Flash game. I'm like, are you really ending? Because I wouldn't have put it past them, to be honest. You know, like the silly shit that sometimes they do. So, but no, they announced that Resident Evil 4 is, as much as everyone was hoping for the announcement of a Resident Evil 4 proper remake, they did announce a sort of remake. It's coming to virtual reality on the Oculus Quest 2. So this is an Oculus Quest 2 exclusive. They made sure to note that. So for all you people who just own one still, sorry, time to upgrade, I guess. Will this come to other platforms eventually? I don't know, because it's being developed in-house. You know, like, that's the thing. I don't know. I know other Oculus exclusive stuff has, but I don't know. It just depends. It definitely won't be straight away. So the trailer showcases, of course, because it's a VR game, that this is moving the entire franchise to first-person view for the first time, like the full game in first-person view, which is kind of cool. Including, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter point out that you're doing like the full inventory thing in first person, which is like, and that looks kind of funny or whatever. And then, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like this is one of the cooler announcements, but I don't want to get too excited in case it turns out it just plays like crap, or I don't know, maybe loses. It's because that game's quite silly. I mean, maybe it's a lot of the like sort of charm of the silliness is lost in a VR version. I don't know. How much from the ground up work is being done here? Don't know. It's interesting though, and definitely I would say a good get for Oculus / Facebook, whatever you want, to have an exclusive VR remake of a well beloved Resident Evil game. I feel like that's going to move a few systems for them. You know, like that may be the thing to push people over, especially I guess if you're someone who hasn't bothered upgrading from Oculus Quest 1 to an Oculus Quest 2 yet, and you're a Resident Evil fan. I feel like this is the game that you're suddenly like, oh fuck, well, time for me to upgrade. You know, like this may be the game to push people along. So, but I wouldn't put it past coming to. It definitely won't come to current PSVR, but I mean, maybe if you're a PlayStation fan, you could expect this on PSVR 2 a year or two down the line, depending on when that releases, I suppose. Much like how we got the Vader thing like 2 years after it released, or whenever it was on Oculus. So, you know, anything's possible. And that was the Resident Evil showcase. And again, yeah, it was alright. Nothing particularly mind-blowing, but in case you forgot, Resident Evil Village is out in a couple weeks as well, basically.
Really?
Yeah, it's not far away. It's
May 7th.
Yeah,
jeez.
There you go. So the demo is like kind of like the demo that's out this week. That's like a good time. If you're a PlayStation fan, you can play that one. It's like 3 weeks before it or something. But then the actual demo, the global demo, is only a week before launch.
So
I think.
Why would you wait? Just wait.
Yeah, at that stage,
unless it's not included in the game.
No, it's the normal game. Whereas the demo they released last time, the one that dropped like straight after the first showcase, that was an experience just made. Like they're like, this isn't the game. This is just a demo experience type thing. Whereas this is actually, you're playing the game. That's why it cuts off after 60 minutes. They haven't designed a demo start and end point. They're like, just play the game in this one particular area. Go ham. Anyway, that's it. That'll do it for this week's episode of Arcade Couch. Let us know any comments, questions, or concerns you may have about anything I just said, or my tongue. You can tweet us, check us out on Discord. You can find us on Twitter by heading to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter. Join our Discord by heading to explosionnetwork.com/Discord. And if you liked the episode and thought it was worth as little as $1, you can let us know that by heading to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/support and sending us as little as $1. Until next week, same time, same couch, maybe with Ciaran fucking suckering up and...
Yeah, you know.
I'm not sick now, guys.
Guess It Takes Two, never heard of it.
Yeah, what's that game? EA, who are they? They publish games, do they? What? Oh, fuck the Oscars. I love the Oscars. Movies, I watch them all the time.
Yeah. What do you want to watch?
Yeah.
Oscar predictions this week.
What a plug. Hey, don't forget you can subscribe to the show wherever you're currently listening, and you can drop a review if you can. Find more great shows like this and more content over at explosionnetwork.com, and please consider supporting us for as little as $1 over on our Ko-fi page by heading to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thanks for listening.